Hey, my name is Max Sawyer. It's an honor and a privilege to introduce you to a fellow with many, many years of experience in the oil and gas extraction. He's worked every major site from the Bakken, Colorado. He's done offshore work. This guy's been around, and he's got a real good perspective on something that you won't hear from pretty much anybody else other than somebody who's worked in the field. Um, what he's going to say is pretty graphic and just brutally honest, and it's an honor. Robert McCaslin.
As as a young man, I started in this industry trying to do a good job, and it's not as safe as everybody would like it to be. And as we grow with time, we start developing uh, a better thought processes. I didn't know that the industry was like it is, but it's killing things. It's actually hurting us. It's actually going to a place there nobody can really understand why or how it's speeding up, but it's speeding up too fast, too quickly, and we're going to destroy ourselves if we don't stop it. As a driller, um, like right now, there's 1,776 drilling rigs running, and as the pace gets faster and faster, we keep punching these holes, we still keep polluting this atmosphere. What happens is we've had this stuff for since the 1800s, but now we have became monsters at it, and we need to stop this. We need to go back. We need to start listening, listening to those well pads, because right now they're all contaminated. This inverted mud that they have here in Pennsylvania is so toxic. I mean, it has everything in it. As I look in North Dakota, the same thing. They have that high rate of that inverted mud, and we stopped using that in 80s, and now they're back to it because it costs the high dollar to keep, and they want to retrieve it, but it's so toxic as we're boring the hole down the well bore. When the drilling rig sets up, we spud in. Spud in means you start your grit to your rotary table and start drilling down. And then we start lining it. And in the process of this, we start contaminating right away. And as the casing gets down, we already have it contaminated, and then it comes back.
They're saying that they are drilling safe, they are not contaminating stuff, that they have the technology to put the casing in when they're doing it, and you say what?
The people should be aware that if we punch a hole by them, there's a potential hazard of a very big process that could happen at any given time. As a worker, you know that when we're drilling and we put up those H2S, it's a gas that'll kill you in 2 whiffs. Any rig that's up there is potential because we don't know what's underneath our mother. They can project, and you can't even go, if you're on a pad, you cannot determine what the next hole's going to do,
Yep.
because that's why we're kicking off and stuff like that. But in the formation of our Mother Earth here, that takes that.
How bad are the accidents on those pads?
When I first broke in, a person from my hometown had lost his life. After that, as you grow with the industry, you start getting these fact sheets in who um, the hurt workers, the fatalities, the people that they sent home in that casket.
Have you ever been on any rigs or any pads where somebody's been killed or there's been some serious accidents?
Yeah, Mac, I have. I've been on a rig that's taken a life. And that mourning process of the due process is kind of mechanically wrong because it was a friend, and they just threw him off to the side and it's business as usual.
Did you ever see any cover-ups on those pads or those rigs?
Whatever we did in that company was the law of the land. And that law of the land, you know, all it was is to contaminate the soil, whatever we needed to do at that point in my life. We just needed to get that hole drilled. That's why we drill, baby, drill. And the faster you can drill, the faster, you know, the hole gets done, the more promotions we get. And that's what we thrive on, is just get the job done, don't worry about a thing, you know, and there's no repercussions.
That's right.
So you just take these international companies, and that's what we do. We do that for a living, you know, so that's how we support our families. So we drill, drill, baby, drill, you know, and then, you know, if an accident does happen, maybe you'll get a talking to, or maybe you won't even see anybody, you know. So you just continue, you continue until that hole is completed. So every stage of the game, it's already know that we're the law of the land. In this industry, you know, there is no laws. The changes of the oil field of today hasn't really changed much. You might, we're talking about drugs, okay? Drug cover-up, yep. The drug cover-up is where I'll take myself, for instance. I'll pee in a jar for you, and then it'll pass everything. But when they went to the hair follicles, we lost a lot of hands, right? So that's sometimes how you get a job promotion and being where you're at, you know, and they'll fill that in. So this has been going on 80s, 90s, you know, 2000, 2010, you know. So if I'm peeing in a jar, it's for a friend, you know. Why did I pee in that jar? It's a job requirement, you know. Now we're getting younger kids in there. Now that's going to an alcohol phase. Days off, days on. And those phases don't go away, you know, because all we're doing is turning the dollar. Turning the dollar for these rich people. You know, the corporations that own this mudslide that we're sliding in.
Did you ever see a lot of drugs on the pads?
Back in the day, Mac, our safety meetings consisted of, you know, the marijuana that is trying to be legalized today in this country. And that, to me, you know, that safety meeting, when you're out there and you're learning, you know, it made it an environmental cleanup, wake up, a consciousness and a connection to all the workers out there. Okay, Colorado got big hooked in meth. If you go down to Clifton, you can see what I'm talking about. You can drive around the corner and you know how them drugs are there, because all you gotta do, you know, it's just that way. You know, I just looked out over the mountain. I drilled on top of that hill, I looked out, and these rig fires, you want to talk about something that's really unique, is to watch 3 of them burn within a few years apart, or a year apart. And the only news coverage you'll get is just a flash.
Yeah.
And it's burning for weeks. You know, that's an endangered, you know, the firemen don't want nothing. Just stay back, guys. Just stay back, because you don't know what's about ready to hit. You don't know if there's another pocket. You don't know if there's another gas chamber down there. If there's a rig fire, stay away from there. Get some qualified people in there that will take this job serious, and then go in and try to control your well or blow it out. You know, Red Adair style.
Yes, sir.
Red Adair says, stop this. Stop this in America. Red Adair is no longer with us, but on his boulevard where Red Adair is, he has a stop sign that says, stop, Red Adair. It's beautiful. We got to stop this drilling.
You think it'll ever stop?
It's going to stop, Mac. I got faith. I got hope.
They got money.
I don't care. You can't eat money, Mac.
What about safety on the pads? You hear a lot of these rig outfits, all the industry saying how safety conscious they are, about how they go up above and beyond to make it safe. What do you say?
I say I'm going to take off my safety glasses because that's where it is, Mac. I'm going to take those off because this is the safe. Them books are written just like any other book. It's only a book. We get the job done, Mac, and regardless of safety or whatever, we're going to get that job done. Doesn't matter. The intake that I get from safety is I watch over my hands. I watched over all my hands all my life, and I take care of them. When it comes to their safety, I'm safety conscious. But as far as the equipment and stuff like that, those books are written. We take them out, we throw them out. It's just that way, Mac.
I
It's
know it
it's
is.
it's ram and cram, and when the money. This is the funny part, Mac, because I've been there so long that when the money falls out, they try to piece all these old pieces of equipment together and try to make a drilling rig to suck out the last of the resources. And it's so bad out there, Mac, that you have a whole different perspective, but you're still making the whole and you're still making everything work.
Do you get off that pad for anything? How about weather? Does weather affect you?
Not in the least.
You're telling me if you had a hurricane come through there, you'd still be drilling. So weather's not a
No
factor on
matter,
that pad.
it's gonna run. It's gonna run.
How about when you have a fire?
Depends on what kind of fire it is. I've had motors blow up. I've had, there's so much that I've seen in my life, Mac. And we got through it. I don't know how we got through it, but we got through it.
How about forest fires? Have you ever been around forest fires? Because Colorado has some severe forest fires. Have you ever been impacted or had to work in those conditions?
I've had a forest fire right across the street from me while I was doing on a workover rig for pool well service. This fire was so intense, and we were tripping pipe. Tripping pipe means coming out of the hole. Well, we had to hurry up and trip in to make sure that we could before the fire got to us, Mac.
So
If
you could.
not, if not, these lines would have been completely blowed out.
What happens if you get hurt?
It's like another page in a book because you're gone. And life goes on. You know, but the worker, you know, I've already know quite a few workers that are out there, that are on that other side of that page. The industry continues to keep on going with no repercussions, no great loss, because the industry is that way. It's mean, it's the machine.
They do what they want, don't they?
We do anything we want.
At any cost.
It's not about cost, it's about being under cost.
What do you think of this industry? But
A new chapter needs to be written on this industry.
what turned you against this industry, Lee?
Unconditional love, Mac. Unconditional. And why I use that word unconditional is I love myself now, Mac, more than ever. And I had that power behind me of that woman to introduce me to that. And it's a beautiful thing. And then looking at the where I've been in my past of that, of the condition that I've been in the years and seeing what I do see, I'm not a young pup anymore. So I thought I'd start sharing, and actually praying, and what I've done to make it right. I took a deep heart inside look at myself, and that's where it all begins is the self. within the United States also. So no matter what state I've been in, what country I've been in, now I'm looking back. I'm looking back on the past and what could I change for the next generation before this all hits them, Mac?
We're not going to be able to turn this around. What are your feelings on that?
Mac, we're already at them crossroads. And back in my culture, we always think about those 7 generations. And if you can go back 7 generations to the present date here, Mac, and see where we are as the climate change, you know, in this environment that we're actually living in. And these streams and these rivers are getting polluted daily. It's on a daily basis.
Yep.
Because driving truck, you see what goes in my mud pits is your hoses. From your hoses goes into my rivers. And from those rivers, it floats downstream. So we're poisoning a lot of things right now in this industry. So, you know, that's our belief a long time ago, that this moment would be here. As I seen that I had to change, now it's time for me to change from the gas fields and get back to my roots. As my people believe in the 7 generations that we are now in this split in this road, they need to change also. And you've seen what has happened here with this industry. As we look back upon 7 generations, we also must look forward. And as right now in this generation, it is now divided. It is really getting contaminated to the where we cannot be able to change it back. I'm part of that indigenous people here of the United States, and this used to be our home of a long time ago, and I'm glad all our stewards are still taking care of the earth.
Thank you.
And I'd like to offer this song up. It's pretty simple, and I wish everybody would join in and help me with this song. We need all that help we can get. And it's pretty easy. And it's just the way hey Washtenach, way hey Washtenach, way hey Washtenach, way hey Washtenach, way. I'm part of the Washtenaw, or the Great Grand River people, and this has actually now had infected my rivers. The tart sands leaked in 2010. You know, I can go on and on about that, but it's still leaking today. And this industry is going to that place. It's taken this step of this next generation's no future within this industry at all. As I return back to my roots so that I can help our people come back together as all people should. All communities, all villages should come together, and this is a problem that we are facing today. We need your and your support to come together. If not, the little ones that you're looking at right now have no future. As we've seen in this industry tear the lives apart, good and bad. You know, the good times, the bad times. But right now I have to return to my roots of my people. Time to change. Crossroads are here. Oh.